Welcome back to View from Brussels. My name is Brandy Miller, and today in the studio we're discussing EU cohesion policy. For that, I'm delighted to welcome MEP Marcos Ros Sempere. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'd like to jump first a little bit into the bigger picture of what you're working on, which is cohesion policy. On that, you are coordinator in the REGI committee, as well as co-rapporteur on the Regional Development Fund. As discussions on the next EU budget take shape, how concerned are you about the place of cohesion policy within what's happening right now?
Okay, you have explained it very well. We are now facing the discussion on the next budget for the following years, 2028, 2034. And one of the pillars of the European budget is the cohesion policy. What is exactly the cohesion policy? I always say that it is a financial tool of the social policies of the European Union. When you walk through your streets, there is an affiche that says financed by cohesion policy, financed by European funds. You go to the doctor and you see in the building, this building was built with European funds, or you take a train and the rail station, the airports. All of this investment has been, the majority of them, financed by cohesion policy. And cohesion policy is affecting the daily life of the citizens. Cohesion policy was created more than 35 years ago to try to equilibrate, to balance the different regions and to try to put all of them in the same level of growing and development. And this is very important because it's the only way to avoid that people from some regions disrespect the European project. All of us can feel that we all belong to the same project because we are on the same level of growing and development. For example, when we Spain entered in the European Union in 1996, we were very poor, and we start receiving money from the cohesion policy, and we have developed, and now all of our regions, the majority of them, are in the same level of the average percentage of GDP and the other indicators. This is cohesion policy, and this is what we want. And you ask me, you are concerned about the future of cohesion policy? Yes, I am. I am very much concerned because we have a proposal coming from the European Commission on the table to discuss, and this proposal is trying to change all the rules and to change the cohesion policy as we know as of today. And the two more damageful things are, first of all, they are trying to merge cohesion fund with other funds, with a common agriculture policy, with fisheries, with tourism, and to put all together, all the sectors has to fight for obtaining this money. And the second thing is that they want to centralize and not to put the money in the different regions, and to put the money only in the capitals of the member states for the central governments, and the central governments will decide where or in what will spend this fund. And this is, in a certain way, the murder of the cohesion policy.
What would this look like in practice? Going back to some of the example that you gave of how you saw cohesion policy in practice, if we are to move in the direction that the Commission is proposing, what would be some of your biggest fears?
I have two biggest fears. First of all, we will have different sectors fighting for money. For example, if I address the global envelope for national plan for a member state, whatever it is, I give an envelope for Spain, but I don't put concrete money for cohesion and concrete money for agriculture, concrete money for other purposes, is all together blended. We don't know if finally we are going to invest in cohesion, or if the central government is going to invest in agriculture or in defense or in fisheries. So this is one fear. We want to have an envelope, a concrete earmarking for cohesion policy. The second fear is that this cohesion policy was designed to imbalance the growing of different regions. But if I give the money to the central governments and I don't say very clear that it has to be multi-level governance and it has to be a clear allocation for different regions, different levels of growing with indicators, maybe the central government of your country, of my country, decide to invest in a big region or a big area of the country which is more developed and is not balancing with the less developed regions, and we don't want that. We want all the regions to participate on the structural investments, structural funds, and we want all the regions to be beneficiaries of the cohesion policy and try to grow and equilibrate an adequate balance with the growing of the rest of the regions. These are my
Your two
biggest
big
fears. Yes.
So you listed a couple of the areas such as agriculture and fishing as well,
Defense also.
defense. I want to talk a little bit about housing and earmarking cohesion funding for housing. Do you see this as a necessary evolution to the fund?
For sure.
Yeah.
Housing is now one of the major issues that we have to face. We cannot permit the housing crisis that we have in the European Union. And despite we know that the majority of the competencies are from the member states, the European Union has to move forward and go and have to try to solve or to help the solution to the housing crisis. What can we do? We do have the cohesion policy, 21-27, the current period. The cohesion policy did not allow to invest in buildings of affordable houses, but we thought, okay, if we are giving social tools for people, why not to open the cohesion policy to finance affordable houses? So I led a report on that was how can the cohesion policy give solutions to the housing crisis. And we proposed to adopt affordable housing as eligible for cohesion policy. Immediately, the European Commission reflected our proposal and proposed a reform of the ERDF regulation. And we received the midterm review of the ERDF and Cohesion Fund, and we adopted this specifically that we have proposed in my report, that we can finance buildings of public houses, finances up to 100% with public money. So member states and regions had the opportunity till December of the past year to reallocate funds that they had to build affordable houses in public buildings. They reallocated till December like 7 or 8 billion euros of their existing money to build in the incoming years up to 2027 buildings with affordable houses. So we are very proud that we could do that. What is the problem now? We have to scale up this and to bring this idea to the next ERDF and Cohesion Fund regulation and to the next cohesion policy from 2028 to 2034. In the MFF proposal, there is not a dedicated fund. There is not a single fund on housing, so we cannot do that because the legal basis don't allow us. But what can we do? We can ring fence, make an earmarking inside the cohesion policy or inside other funds to address affordable and sustainable housing. Sustainable housing, maybe European Competitiveness Fund, and when we talk about affordable housing, the Cohesion Fund or European Regional Development Fund.
If funds are earmarked for affordable housing in particular, what do you see as some of the practical bottlenecks that exist that would maybe stop these projects from being implemented or prevent them from being implemented to the full speed that they're needed?
Well, I think that first of all, we have to achieve that.
Yeah.
We are in the
that would be the biggest.
We are in the best moment, in the negotiation moment of the regulation, and we have to incorporate affordable housing as one of the objectives of the cohesion policy. Second, try to address compulsory money for this purpose. I can say to you, you are a region, you receive an amount of money, and you have among the objectives that you can select housing, but you can select housing or not. But I also can say you are going to have this money, and the X% of this money is for housing. So you have the obligation, it has to be compulsory. We do want to make an earmarking of a percentage of the money for purpose related to housing. And I think this is the only way to start fighting at global scale to build public buildings with public houses for rent with affordable price. I think this is the way that we are going to try to negotiate in the upcoming months.
Well, speaking of negotiations and working on the ERDF report, what do you think are proving to be some of the hardest red lines politically to shift, to the extent that you want to speak about it?
Yes, the hardest red lines, or I think maybe to convince the council, because okay, in the parliament we have a strong position, at least on Regi committee. We are working with cohesion policy, all the different terms, and all the members involved in. We are very committed with the cohesion policy, so we will try to solve these problems that we have on the table: decentralization and the merge of the funds, earmarking. But what happens with the council? Maybe member states, some of them, the majority of them, let's see. We are listening, we are trying to speak with everyone. Some of them, they do want the proposal coming from the European Commission because it allows them to be free to invest in what they want or what they have in their own political priorities. So the hardest line to move, it's going to be maybe the negotiation with the council after the approval of the European Parliament's position.
And by the end of this mandate, and looking at the end of the mandate of the Commission, which still has a long time to go, what would you say is the main thing that you're hoping to achieve out of the work that you're doing?
No doubt, from 1st of January 2028, we will have the new cohesion policy ongoing. So in 1 year and a half, I would like to go on the street and see buildings starting to be built or ending to be built with this affiche that say financed by cohesion policy, financed by ERDF, and for public building, for public houses with affordable price for young people, for normal workers that cannot afford a house. This, for me, could be a very interesting achievement, and I would be very happy to see that in my city or in another city of the European Union.
Well, that's a very aspirational hope, so I think we'll be watching that very, very closely. But before we wrap up, I wanted to take a quick look at the other work that you're doing, namely on media and digital literacy. As rapporteur on a new strategy in this field, could you briefly touch on some of the core objectives that you're trying to work on within your report?
We were thinking in the CULT committee, which is the other committee in which I am working, how could we help to start moving and start giving solutions for a big problem that we have today. Social media, their phones, their smartphones, we work in a digital environment, but sometimes we are not so prepared to respond to the challenge of the digital environment. Maybe because we don't have enough training, maybe because we don't have all the data that we need. And the thing is that in this environment, disinformation, misinformation, deep fakes are running out, are affecting the daily life of the normal people. And some people are being affected by these challenges, and they don't know how to manage all the information that they have. And it is affecting the core values of our democracy. Even in some countries, Romania 2 years ago, we had to suspend the result of the elections because it was an ingerence, external ingerence coming from Russia in the voters. Is that because the voters wanted? No, it's that because they couldn't distinguish the real or the deep fakes or the information with the disinformation. This report is trying to ask the European Commission and member states to define a strategy to improve the media literacy of the people with digital education. Not means only digital skills or technical skills. It means critical thinking, stop, listen, read carefully, try to compare, try to search the sources, give people the ability to not believe what they watch immediately, to be critical and to be able to understand, to think about different possibilities and to take their own decisions. This is not a report to teach people to be some way or the other way. It's a report to create this strategy with funding, objectives, with purposes, affecting the schools, all the ages of people, early schoolhood, but also normal school, universities,
and beyond as well.
lifelong learning,
Yeah,
lifelong learning, because one of the most affected sectors of the population is elder people, because when you are starting to get older, you start losing some capacity of distinguish the different things that are coming and changing every day. And this is the objective of this report, to give tools to the people, to empower citizens.
Yes, and to have more real-life interactions. But with that, Marcos, thank you so much for your time and for speaking about your work. We hope to have you in the future to maybe discuss more of your reports and hopefully their success.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure.
Have a great day, and thank you to our viewers. See you next time.